Thank you for listening to the Save Point podcast. Please consider subscribing at youtube.com/SavePointVids. Follow us at SavePointVids on all major social media platforms for up-to-the-minute updates on everything Save Point Vids related. If you find us entertaining and informative, please leave a thumbs up or a 5-star rating on your platform of choice. Your patronage is very much appreciated, and we could not do this without you. And now, on to the show. All right, everyone, welcome back to the Save Point Podcast, Special Edition E3 2019. This episode is going to be all about the Ubisoft conference. Before we get into that, I, of course, am your host, Josh Taylor, and again, this is going to be all about the Ubisoft E3 2019 conference. Let's jump right into it. So it opens up with an orchestra, the Assassin's Creed Symphony. Basically, it was a long commercial talking about tour dates for the Assassin's Creed concert tour that is going on. It was a little long in the tooth. I don't know if it was the right way to open up the conference. I would have rather have just liked to cut into a gameplay demo of some sort. But it was fine. Not my favorite way again to open the conference, but for what it was fine. Just to went a little long. But after that, we got our first proper look at Watch Dogs Legion. This game was announced, or I should say this game was leaked a week or two ago. We knew that it was going to be set in London. That was the rumors leading up to it. And then the official title was leaked about a week ago. This was our first proper look at the game. It takes place in London. Again, it does take place in London. Basically, it's post-Brexit, and you play as the Resistance. But the twist on the gameplay is that you don't have just one main character. They said that literally any NPC that you see in the world of Watch Dogs Legion can be recruited to the Resistance. So depending on what you need for a particular mission, for example, in the demo that they gave, it was that you were looking for somebody that was a drones expert. And so one of the characters that you were playing as at the moment was basically going around and with his cell phone scanning the IDs of particular people that he was coming across in the environment. And what had happened is that he was caught. There was a chase. He stole a car. There was a chase. He ended that first character that we saw. I didn't catch his name, but he ended up being shot and killed. And the cool thing is that there's permadeath. So if the character that you are controlling dies, that's it. They're done. There's no. Obviously, I'm sure you could, reload the save if you really wanted to. Maybe there's a autosave feature or something like that. But it is permadeath. So, and then what happened after that was that the perspective actually changed to another person. This one was actually an elderly woman. It looked like maybe in her 60s or even 70s. We find out later in the trailer that she is a retired assassin, but she kind of finished out the mission that the previous character had started. It seems very ambitious. Watch Dogs always seems very ambitious in what they want to accomplish. If this really works the way that they are promising, it could be very, very interesting. I'm super pumped for it. I played the first one, didn't finish it, never played the second one, but this could be, the game that gets me back in. It was very fast action. Towards the end of the trailer, they actually switched to a third person for this gameplay trailer. She is a trained assassin, and she kind of infiltrates this warehouse or this factory to rescue somebody, kind of get them out of the custody of these people. But the action was awesome. It reminded me of a lot of John Wick. There was a lot of, grappling and holds. They're flipping the guy over and then just kind of like point blank range, just shooting him. The gunplay seems very fast and fluid. I'm very excited to see more. We did see a 3/6/2020 release date. So keep that on your radar. I think that could be a very interesting game to check out, next spring. After that, Rob McElhenney came out from Always Sunny in Philadelphia. He talked about a new TV show that he is partnering up with Ubisoft about a fictional MMO called Mythic Quest, and they are releasing their first expansion called Raven's Banquet. It's a fictional MMO, but it's basically Silicon Valley meets The Office, and it kind of follows these devs around during the build up and the release of this expansion for this fake MMO. It is exclusive to Apple TV Plus. It looks interesting. Who knows if it's going to end up, being anything of high quality. Again, it is exclusive to Apple TV Plus. After that, they talked about Rainbow Six Siege. There is a new update, I think it's technically an expansion, but it's Operation Phantom Sight. It is available tomorrow. Then we get a Brawlhalla and Adventure Time crossover. It's a new buddy game mode. It's available today. They kind of touched on that. That seemed kind of a weird one. I'm not an Adventure Time fan, but I believe that show went off the air several years ago, so it seemed kind of a weird kind of crossover. If it was Rick and Morty, I could see that being, a more relevant type of crossover, but who knows? I mean, it's obviously there for somebody. That mode is available today. Then we got an extended trailer for Ghost Recon Breakpoint. John Bernthal came out. He plays Cole D. Walker. A cinematic trailer. Again, it didn't have a lot of gameplay, but if you've played other Ghost Recon games, most recently Wildlands, you kind of know what to expect as far as the gameplay is concerned. They did announce a September 5th beta, and then they also have a Terminator crossover that was announced as well. After that, we get a mobile game franchise. It's a crossover for all the Ubisoft franchises. It is called Tom Clancy's Elite Squad. It's like a strategy RPG. Again, it had a couple characters from the Rainbow Six franchise, from the Ghost Recon. It even had Sam Fisher from Splinter Cell. If you're into mobile games, that might be up your alley. Then they had Just Dance 2020. I can't believe it's been 10 years, but it's been 10 years since the first one was released. They had a dance number. I mean, I don't know what else to say. It's Just Dance. If you like Just Dance, then you'll probably like this one. And if you're not a fan, I don't think that this one's going to pull you in. The most interesting thing that I saw is that it's still coming to the Wii. The Nintendo Wii, not the Wii U, the Wii. And the fact that game is still being made, it just goes to show that game still has to be selling at least tens of thousands, if not maybe 100,000 copies on the Nintendo Wii for Ubisoft to make it profitable for them. So that was just very interesting. The fact that the Wii's been dead for several years now. They have the Switch and even the Wii U before that. But the fact that it's still coming to the Wii, I just thought was very interesting. Then we got a look at For Honor. It is a limited time in-game event called Shadows of the Hitokiri. I'm not a big For Honor person. I've never played it and never seemed to appeal to me, but the people that love For Honor love For Honor. They are the hardcore of hardcore. They absolutely adore that game. So this is going to be obviously right up their alley. One of the new games that was announced is the next entry in the Rainbow Six franchise called Quarantine. The trailer started off with it's from a first-person perspective. It looked like somebody was hurt and injured in a building somewhere. They were holding a pistol and it sounded like maybe there was a monster or zombies most likely that was, right around the corner. They could kind of hear them off screen. This guy is basically just waiting out either for help to arrive or the monster would attack or whatever it might be. But then his teammates come around the corner, kind of dispatch the enemy and pick him up off the ground. And then we find out that, again, it is called Rainbow Six Quarantine. It is a 3-person co-op experience. It's PvE. We didn't see any gameplay, but that kind of gives you an idea of the route that they're trying to take with this one. Then we get a big Division 2 update from June 13th through the 16th. The entire Division 2 game, the full game, will be free to play. Beyond that, they have a brand new, basically they had a roadmap for the next year of Division 2 content. They are going beyond DC was the big theme. Starting in July, episode 1, you hit the Woodlands, and I believe, if I remember correctly, you are trying to infiltrate a presidential compound and bring a traitor to justice. Then you have the National Zoo is another location. Kenley College is a location where you are actually going in and trying to figure out what happened to this convoy that basically just went dark, what happened to them, and you're trying to solve the mystery behind that. Episode 2 does release this fall, and that is all about the Pentagon. And then the second raid is also announced for this fall. And then episode 3 is announced for early 2020, and this one you actually go back to New York. And I think the message behind that is that you actually go to face the main character from the first division that you actually played as the player. The player that you controlled is now the enemy. So maybe there's some backstabbing going on, who knows, but you go back to New York for the episode 3 in early 2020. After that, they briefly but they reiterated that the Jessica Chastain and Jake Gyllenhaal Division movie is moving forward. They didn't give a release date, but they said it is going to be a Netflix original. But that was all that we got on that. Then they talked about the Uplay Plus, which was that Ubisoft Pass leak that came out a couple weeks ago. Basically, it is similar to EA or EA Origin, or what is it called? EA's version of it. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but basically you get all the Ubisoft games for $14.99 a month. You get, it is only PC for right now. You get the earliest access to over 100 games and all additional content for, again, $14.99 a month. Sign up now for free access in September. I'm assuming maybe for the first month is free. And then they did announce that in 2020 that Uplay Plus service will be available on Stadia as well. After that, they talked about Roller Champions. It's the roller derby combat game. It looked very Rocket League-esque, and as so far as that, I think they're trying to make it a kind of like a Twitch stream type of game, the way Rocket League was and is. It didn't do a whole lot for me. It's 3v3. It seemed kind of generic in the look and feel of it. Who knows? You can try it out for yourself right now, though. You can download the pre-alpha demo on Uplay right now for the next, I believe, 3 or 4 days. So if you are interested in that, definitely check it out. It is an action sports title, again, 3v3. And if it is any good, let me know. I would love to, check those type of games out. It just, from the trailer itself, it didn't really speak to me. And then the last thing that they talked about was a brand new IP. It had a very not watercolor, but very storybook type of look to it. It reminded me a lot of Breath of the Wild. It's called Gods and Monsters. We didn't get any gameplay really. It was more of a teaser trailer. It probably lasted 30 or 45 seconds. So who knows? It didn't really give us a whole lot to go off of. It looks maybe like an action adventure, maybe like a Zelda type of game. They didn't say that, but that's just kind of the vibe that I was getting. It does have a February 25th, 2020 release date, and it's from the creators of Assassin's Creed Odyssey. And that was it. And then it basically cut off there from the main conference. Didn't really have a whole lot of surprises. It was a lot of updates for existing titles. The two notable omissions is that we did not see Beyond Good and Evil 2, and we did not see the often requested and clamored for Splinter Cell sequel or reboot. So who knows if those games are coming. With Beyond Good and Evil 2, I was never a huge proponent of it. I've been saying from the very beginning that I don't know if this game, not that it doesn't exist, I don't know if anybody really cares if it's coming or not. It reminds me again of what EA tried to do with Mirror's Edge several years ago. The first one was very much a cult classic in the most traditional sense of the term. And so they made, the second one, listening to that very dedicated, hardcore, but very small group of people. And it bombed from all accounts. I don't think they ever released exact sales figures. I'm sure you could go back and look at NPD numbers, but that game underperformed by any metric. And so I don't think we're going to see any more of Mirror's Edge. And it kind of reminds me of this, is that the first Beyond Good and Evil, while by all accounts a great game when it was originally released, it has a very small but dedicated fan base. And so I think Ubisoft was listening to that fan base when they decided to greenlight a sequel. But with the game taking as long as it has to come out, I don't know if anybody, by the time if and when it ever does come out, if anybody's actually going to care. I think, it's pretty clear to me that this game was probably announced 2 or 3 years too early. So who knows, maybe we'll see something at, Paris Games Week, here in the next couple months, or, some maybe next year at E3, who knows. But that was a big omission that I think a lot of people were expecting, and we just did not get that. And the same thing with Splinter Cell. Again, they never said that Splinter Cell was in the works. I think it was just more of hopeful thinking that people wanted to see, the return of Sam Fisher. Again, it's been since 2013 since we saw the last Splinter Cell game. So it seems like it was time. I guess that was the biggest thing for a lot of people that had hoped and predicted that it would be there, is that it just seemed like it was time to bring Sam Fisher back, whether, again, it was a direct sequel to Blacklist, which, again, was the last one, or if it was just a reboot of the entire franchise. But we didn't see that. I can't imagine that they're going to sleep on that forever. Maybe, again, that is a Paris Games Week or a next year E3, or, but at some point that game's got to be announced. So it's only a matter of time. I just figured that we would see it, with this conference. Overall, I think it was a good conference. I don't think it wasn't mind-blowing by any stretch of the imagination. It was serviceable. Again, didn't get a whole lot of brand new IP other than Gods and Monsters, Roller Champions, and then Rainbow Six Quarantine, which is not a new IP. It's a new entry in an existing IP. We didn't get any new games announced. Again, Watch Dogs Legion, I guess technically that is a new entry, but not a new IP, although it does look very interesting. That's definitely my favorite game coming out of their conference. But then we talked about the Mythic Quest TV show for Apple TV, Rainbow Six Siege update, Brawlhalla. These are all existing games. Ghost Recon Breakpoint, Just Dance, For Honor. Again, Rainbow Six Quarantine was announced. The Division 2 update, Roller Champions, and then Gods and Monsters. And so really there were not a whole lot of heavy hitters. I think it was fine. It might have been better for them to maybe take a year off from E3 and just kind of announce these at maybe like a smaller thing. It's just because when people tune into an E3 conference, they want to be wowed and they do want to be blown away. And again, that's not necessarily Ubisoft's problem. That's just us being enthusiasts about the industry and how, we are always clamoring for like the next big, I can't believe that just happened type of moment. And we didn't get that at all with Ubisoft. Not that I don't think maybe nobody was really expecting it, but it would have been nice. So, if I had to rank the conferences at this point, I would definitely say that Bethesda is so far number one and kind of the way their press conference was handled. I would put Microsoft at 2 and then Ubisoft at 3. Google Stadia, if you throw that in there weren't a whole lot of like game announcements, but Google Stadia would be there somewhere in the mix. I'm very interested though to see what Square Enix brings to the table this evening. Final Fantasy VII Remake. I want to see more than just the opening areas of Midgar. I want to see what the world map looks like. I want to see some summons. I want to see different areas and different locations. We did get the March 3rd, 2020 release date announced last night. So they're going to reiterate that. I want to see a brand new trailer. I would love to see the rumored demo for that opening area of Final Fantasy VII announced at the conference, and maybe it is available later today or tonight. We will again see Marvel's Avengers. What is that game going to look like? How are they going to juggle playing as different characters? Is it going to be, is it going to be like an open world? Is it going to be, for each different mission, they pre-select a different hero for you, or can you mix and match depending on what you want to do? So it'll be interesting to see how they handle that. That's going to be another big game. I want to see a lot of their smaller JRPG type stuff. That stuff, even though it is more very niche compared to something like a Marvel's Avengers, I think that could be very interesting. I'm always happy to see that kind of stuff. But yeah, so let me know what you guys think about the Ubisoft conference and the other conferences in general. And I am going to do my best to get this edited and uploaded. Again, please check us out on all the major podcast services around the globe. That's Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Cast, and then obviously check us out at youtube.com/SavePointVids. If you like this, please subscribe, like, and share it. That is the only way that I can keep doing this, is that if I gain support. And if you have something, that you would like me to improve, or, you have a legitimate criticism, I'm always open to, taking feedback in mind and trying to create a better and more polished product. So again, drop that in the comment or tweet at me at SavePointVids. And until next time, everybody stay safe.